Hey guys, today I'm going to take and walk you through sharpening of a Hikari Japanese shear. It is a full convex, and we're going to start to finish on this. I'm going to start just by discussing the stones first. The inside ride line work of these. First off, never try to attempt to do this if you don't have proper training or experience. Some of these tools are very expensive and they're incredibly precise, beyond what I even was aware of when I started. So that you will see that they do have a small little edge right here on the inside that's flat. They're basically like a Japanese single bevel knife, where they are concave except for right along that edge. And so to respect that ride line, you need to do them on Japanese whetstones. The first thing is the Japanese whetstones need to be flattened and cleaned. I've got a 1000 grit and then a 3000 grit. These are Naniwa diamond. So once these are cleaned and smoothed, you can use them wet or dry, but we're going to do the first pass and we'll just do them wet today. Place them firmly on there, keep your thumb over the pivot. These are for guiding it along. Medium pressure. I like to do about 5, and then you come to a complete stop and lift straight up. Wipe it off, inspect. And if you can see that you have a full ride line, then you can move on to the next step. This will be the polish step. So it's very similar to sharpening other items, where first you remove material, reset the damage, and then you do a refinement or a polishing step. I'll usually do 10 or 20 strokes on this. Pull back to a complete stop, then we'll wipe that off, and then I'm going to inspect closely, and you may not be able to see it, but we have a mirrored edge, and that's exactly what you want to see. Is you want to see a very fine mirrored edge. I did check the set on these, and that's another aspect for another day. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process with this, and I'll bring you back as soon as we're done with that. Okay, I completed the ride line work, or the inside work, on the other half of the shear. Now I'm over at the flat hone machine, and again, this is not something that you'd want to attempt without proper training or the proper equipment. We have a 1500 grit silicon carbide pad, and I happen to know that the angle on these is very low, so we're going to set the angle. And what we'll do is we'll just do a light test on this. And what we're going to do, so just like anything else you sharpen, there's two surfaces that come together to make a sharp apex. And we've done the inside. We have a beautiful, very thin, mirror polished ride line right there. And hopefully that'll show up as a mirror polish. It goes all the way to the tip, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to spin this up, and I can see exactly that we are at the right angle. I've already got a burr, and I inspected these for damage, so I know they're fine. So once you have your edge up, then you can begin the convexing process. And once the convexing is done, I'll be right back and we'll move on to the final step. So now I've done the apexing and convexing, and then we'll do the final polish. Be right back. Okay, so now that we've done the ride line and we've done the convexing and brought up the burr, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to gently brush the burr back to the other side, and then my personal is I like to decrease the angle by about 1 or 2 degrees back. And then we'll do the final step, which will be the stropping. And the polishing step. Here's the polishing. And the blue compound really puts a nice polish on it. Give it one more light brush. Just want to make sure we get all that burr off. That looks pretty nice. Let's take a look at our final result here. It's always hard to see because of the mirror polish reflecting in the light. And then one of the tests that you can do is you just touch the hair and it should pop the hair right off. That is stupidly sharp, and that's the benefit of using the angle jig. It allows for such precise control that you can exactly get the most absolutely beautiful edge every time. I was going to finish it just with the final sharpening, but I figured I might as well show us putting them all back together as well. Here's the two surfaces after I've mirror polished them. The thing you won't see is you won't see any sort of deviation from the primary angle as it comes down to the apex. There's no secondary convexness. There's no micro bevel, nothing of the sort. I'm going to put just a tiny, well, that's more than tiny. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil into the pivot. I'm going to put the pivot screw into place. Put the pivot in. Flip it over this way. These have a very simple system, and it's just a screw that goes in under tension, and you don't want to get it cross-threaded. There it is, I think. Yep. So once you get it in, you want to tighten it down, and then you want to feel for the looseness, and so the tension will be the final thing. So we've cleaned them, lubed it, and then here they're tight, there's no tension. I mean, they're full tension, and then you want to loosen that up, feel it, and what you're looking for is for it to drop and to come in at about 7 o'clock, or if you're dropping this way, to come in to about 5 o'clock. That's a little too loose. Right in there. Now I know she happened to have these a little tighter than normal, so I'm just going to give it just a touch more. They're going to be very smooth. I'm going to give them one final wipe, then I'm going to put them in a protective case and give them back to her, and we're going to do one test cut as well with hair. Other than that, this is how you sharpen these. This is how you respect and treat these properly. You put just an absolutely stupid razor sharp edge, hair popping sharp on both the blades, and then they come together and they're assembled and cleaned. Hopefully that gives you guys the correct information. I appreciate you guys for watching, and aloha and have a great day. Hey!